Alright, today I'm going to be giving a speech on utilitarianism. What is that? Well, let's get into that. As I'm standing here today, I want you to envision yourself in the shoes of an unemployed poor man or woman with a family that depends on you for survival. You need money for school fees and groceries, but can't seem to get a job. Will you be okay in this instance but still to provide for your family, or would you provide for them in other means? And pitch the utilitarian ethical standpoint. Today I'm going to ask you the question, can the ends justify the means? And pitch you the ethical seat of utilitarianism and explain to you how the utilitarian concepts will be a good ethical standpoint. My credibility, I've always been interested in utilitarianism when it pertains to a person's individual ethics or the moral principles that governs a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. First, I will be diving into the history of utilitarian ethics. Next, the state of utilitarian ethics and how we apply it to it today. And finally, I'll be exploring what are some of the strengths and what is some of the weaknesses of it. So first, the history. Before we begin discussing utilitarianism, we first need to understand where it comes from, which is classical utilitarians such as Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill. In Mill's words, each person's happiness is good to that person, and the general happiness, therefore, a good aggregate of all persons. It states when pertaining to the utilitarian standpoint that actions and inactions benefit few people and harm more people that will be deemed morally wrong, while actions and inactions which harm fewer people will benefit more people will be deemed morally wrong. Bentham and Mill define these terms in happiness, unhappiness, pleasure, and pain. Its main driving point and the sole purpose is to increase net utility. And finally, it is a moral theory that says moral agents have certain duties or obligations that are formed in the terms of rules. Some strengths of utilitarianism is as follows. The first strength is that it asks you to consider what are some of the consequences of your actions and how they make a difference in our moral dilemmas. It looks for concrete results that are observable by any and everyone. Another strength is that it incorporates the principle of impartiality, which means that everyone counts equally in every moral decision and that discrimination is forbidden. It is also a moral theory that promotes human welfare through and through. Now that we have explored some of the strengths of utilitarianism, let's explore some of its weaknesses. The most glaring weakness is the fact that while using the utilitarian moral theory, one could always not know the result of the actions as judged by your consequences. In the future, it is known you will never be able to fully anticipate some of the consequences that could arise from making specific moral decisions. Another weakness when concerning utilitarianism is that you are unable to compare the result of your action or know the full extent of some consequences that might entail. Now I'd like to close with the following statements. We have specifically looked at the history of utilitarianism, two of utilitarianism's most famous supporters, and some strengths and weaknesses it may have. I hope that I've successfully taught you not only what utilitarianism is, but what some of its strengths and weaknesses are. And I hope I helped you answer the question I presented in the beginning. Can the ends justify the means? Utilitarianism is one of the most fascinating moral theories out there, and this fact is inescapable. Most people who have studied utilitarian ethics are familiar with these two types: act utilitarianism, which is dependent on actions, and rule utilitarianism, which is dependent on rules. I hope I explained utilitarianism so you can add to your arsenal and help you make decisions that you